Are you thinking about taking the Celta course, but you're not quite sure if it's worth it? In this video, I'm going to break it down into some pros and cons to help you make that decision if it's right for you or not. And stick around until the end because I'm going to share with you what I believe is probably the most important consideration when it comes to taking the Celta or not. So let's jump into it. Okay, so I'm going to start off by listing some of the drawbacks or the cons to taking a Celta. So one of the first things that really, occurs to all of us, it's this thing. It's the price, it's the cost of Celta. And yeah, it's not cheap. You're going to pay anywhere from about $1,200 all the way up to closer to $2,000. And that really just depends on the center and the location in the world where you're taking it. So, look at your budget and ask yourself, okay, if I'm going to spend this kind of money, what is it worth to me in the short or long term? So you got to look at your goals. And I will talk about that a little bit more when I get to the pros side of it. But I guess I could say at this point, is it just a short-term thing that you're going to be doing a couple of months here or there? Or is it something you're thinking about doing a little bit more long-term? The second con that really jumps out to me is, while Celta is a practical course, you will be teaching real students, it's always teaching groups, or almost always teaching groups. And this is great. It gives you great experience, exposure to working with a variety of different types of students. But a lot of time in a lot of different places around the world where English language teaching is big industry, you will be teaching one-on-one lessons. Now, I do have a video on my channel about teaching one-on-one, and I do offer guidance to people when it comes to teaching one-on-one. But it's just something to keep in mind. What is the profile of learner that you're going to be teaching primarily? And just remember that if you only do end up teaching groups, you probably will want to do a little bit of research into some good techniques when it comes to teaching individuals. Third big con that occurs to me is that the course is intense. And sometimes people read this or hear this but don't fully appreciate it. If you do the Monday to Friday 9 to 5, as it's called, intensive course, it does exactly what it says on the tin. It is intensive. So you are going to be, as I said, in 9 to 5 at classes every day. And then in the evening, you're going to have to be working on assignments or lesson plans or just doing a little bit of extra reading. So your life is really going to be very Celta-focused for those 4 weeks. Now, there are other options in terms of how you do the course. It doesn't have to be Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. But if you do that version of the course, it is intense. So just get ready for that if you are considering taking the intensive course. Final con that I just want to point out to you is that often there isn't any assistance in finding a job after Celta course has been completed. So if this is a concern for you, if you're really looking for that guidance, again, that's something that you can look to a person like me for some consultation and guidance in terms of finding a job, but you won't find that generally with Celta courses. It's certainly not part of the Celta syllabus. Some centers may offer some guidance on that front, but in general, once you get your course, you're kind of on your own. Before I get on to the next tip, I just wanted to take one quick minute of your time to tell you about my website where you can book an appointment with me, a free 45-minute consultation, just to talk about whatever your language teaching goals are. I'm here to spend that time with you and discuss how you can better achieve them. Okay, that's the cons to one side. Let's talk about what are some of the pros of doing a Celta course. First big thing is that Celta is a very practical course. So you will be teaching real students, and this gets you really ready for teaching in the real world. By the time you finish the course, you'll be much more comfortable in that classroom environment. You'll be much more prepared in terms of how to put together materials and set up a lesson so that you'll have a much more positive outcome to your lesson. And ultimately, you're just going to feel a lot more comfortable in the classroom with your students. You're not going to be second guessing yourself as much as if you didn't have that training. The next big pro that I think about when I think about Celta is the rigor of the course. So this course does indeed come from Cambridge University. So in order for it to maintain that affiliation with Cambridge, it has to have very high standards. So there's a syllabus, which is transparent, which is communicated to all trainees right from the get-go. So you know exactly what you are being assessed on. There are assignments, there are lesson plans, there's teaching practice, there are tutorials. And then the course is moderated externally by an assessor who comes from Cambridge to assess, first of all, us, the tutors, to make sure that we are delivering to you, the trainee, the standards set out in the syllabus and required by Cambridge. And we as tutors, we need to justify our grades and our assessments to this external person. So you can be sure that the course is quite rigorous and quite high standard. Another pro to taking CELTA is recognition. So while I mentioned that you don't necessarily get job assistance with your course, when you go out, start sending CVs and applying for jobs, CELTA has pretty much instant recognition worldwide. There are some stats. Now, I'm not 100% sure how they get these numbers, but people say 3 in 4 schools around the world ask for CELTA as a requirement. I would say the other 1 out of 4 there, they will recognize CELTA. So wherever you go, anywhere in the world, you can be pretty much assured that CELTA is recognized and required. And I would even add to that, that if the school doesn't know what CELTA is, you probably don't want to work there, because that's kind of saying that they don't really understand much about the industry. So it's a good kind of bar or measure for you to decide, oh, do I want to work for this school or not? A question I often get answered is, can you be an English language teacher if you're not a native speaker? And the answer to that, especially in terms of CELTA, is absolutely yes, you can. CELTA opens the door to non-native speakers of English to become teachers. Now, caveat there, you will need a C1 or advanced level of English. Now, usually you don't have to show any certification for this level of English, because you will have an interview prior to you gaining acceptance onto a course where your language level will be assessed. But if you do have that advanced level of English, then your passport has no bearing on whether you are eligible to take the CELTA course. So this is really a great thing to add to your CV if you are a non-native speaker of English teaching in your own context. It really will help to set you apart from many of the other English language teachers. And the last point that occurs to me, and this is kind of my big reveal, the point that really, stands out to me, and I don't really see it getting a lot of airtime or a lot of people talking about it. The thing that occurs to me is that CELTA applies not just to English language teaching. Again, if you're a non-native speaker and you wish to teach your own first language, Spanish, Portuguese, Japanese, whatever it may be, you can use the methods, approaches, and techniques of CELTA and apply those to teaching any other language. Beyond that, there are a lot of adult educational principles that underpin CELTA, and then you can start to apply those to other areas of education. That's something that I've done myself in my own career. I've got into the industry of instructional design by transferring my knowledge and my skills and abilities with English language teaching to the world of instructional design. So really, this opens up a world of possibility for you. To that end, actually, I teach a course called Life After CELTA, where you can learn about all of these other avenues that are open to you. If you would like to speak more about that, click the link below in the description of this video, where you can book a free appointment to talk with me about any of your immediate teaching goals, or maybe your longer term teaching goals. To wrap up, would I recommend taking CELTA? Well, that depends on your situation. Is English language teaching something that you're planning to do just for a summer while you backpack around a part of the world just to get some experience, but really teaching isn't a long-term career? Then maybe CELTA isn't worth the price or the cost for you. Maybe you should look into doing a cheaper TEFL course, or again, working with somebody like myself just to get the rudiments of teaching under your belt. However, if teaching is something you've been looking at for a while, or maybe you have a little bit of experience and you feel that this could be a career for you a little bit more long-term, quite long-term, then I would absolutely recommend you taking the Celta course, as it is the industry standard. It is the benchmark in English language teaching around the world. It is going to equip you with everything that you need to be a successful English language teacher. Okay, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Please do like, share, subscribe to the channel. Help spread the word. My objective here is to put out this information, my knowledge, my experience, to help you English language teachers or budding English language teachers to be the best that you can be. Drop me a comment below if any of this resonated with you, or if you have a question regarding any of the content here. And all that's left for me to say is thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.